We are less than 3 months out from the presidential election. It's time to take a look at that crystal ball. And for many of us, the crystal ball is the stock market, and for very good reason. The stock market has accurately predicted the winner of the presidential election every single time since 1984. That is more than 30 years of 100% accuracy. Even before then, the stock market accurately predicted the winner 87% of the time. So what's our crystal ball telling us? Well, the market's up. It's up about 5% since the beginning of the year, and it's really rallying in August, somewhere between 6 or 7%. But before you buy your Trump flag or flee the country, maybe there's another side of the story we should consider. You see, the president leads fiscal policy, which has to do with taxes and government spending. Fiscal policy actually affects the end consumer much more. The market is more driven by monetary policy, which is led by the Fed. So let's look at the average consumer. And we have an index for that. It's called the Misery Index. And I'm not talking about the show on TBS. I'm talking about an actual index that has predicted the winner of the presidential election 11 of the last 14 times. The Misery Index attempts to determine how the average citizen is feeling by adding unemployment to the inflation rate. Of course, the assumption is the higher the unemployment rate, the higher the inflation rate, the more miserable we are. Turns out we're all pretty damn miserable this year. The Misery Index tripled between January and March. And even though it is on a slight decline, it's still twice what it was normally. So according to the Misery Index, we're actually looking at a President Biden. But I will point out that the Misery Index was wrong 3 of the last 14 times, and one of those was most notably the 2016 election, where President Trump surprised us all, particularly the pollsters. Polls have not fared very well. In fact, since 1998, all polls have only accurately predicted the president about 79% of the time. So if we can't rely on our polls, where should we look for our election predictions? How about Vegas? Betting on politics has really spiked, especially this year with the decline in sports. So if we take a look back at 2016, when nearly every poll was calling a win for President Clinton, Vegas actually had the odds on Trump at 5-1 the day before the election. As of now, Vegas is giving a slight tilt to President, or could be President Biden. I have no idea who's going to win the presidential election, but there is one thing I can say for certain: nothing about 2020 is predictable. That's it for this week. This is Jeannie Fisher, the 401k Lady.